What do we know? We know rate hikes are coming. However, it does appear that rate hikes are going to come in lower than a lot of people anticipated, but in the range that the majority agree. So as of last month, about 90% sentiment on a 25 to 50 basis point increase in March. Okay? And historically, when the consensus is that high, it ends up being correct, right? Because there's people that do this for a long time and they know what to look for. Jerome Powell got in front of the congressional committee and said the same thing. He's eyeing 25. Now, a wild bullard appears every now and then, and he comes out and he goes, 50 basis points. And everybody freaks out because he's a voting member of the board, okay? So that scares people off a little bit. But it does appear that we are going to stay closer probably to 25 basis points. Now, that's a good thing in our heads, but it's a bad thing for the economy long term because we're getting this almost runaway inflation, right? And it's gotten to a point where they have to put a halt on this money being pumped in, or else it's just going to keep driving it up along with other factors. And so they have to do a hard stop, but they can't do a hard stop because it's an election year and there's all this other stuff going on and they don't want to stop the economic growth, because once again, inflation and GDP growing at the same time is fine. But when inflation is growing like this and GDP is growing like this, that's a fucking problem, right? And then you've got more things coming out, which is oil. Oil's dipping a little bit today after the U.S. said that they're going to stop Russian imports, open up their strategic reserves, and work with other countries, which potentially could be Venezuela, because that'd be cheap oil, if you know what I mean, to flood the market and bring oil prices down. But like we said yesterday, every recession was not preceded by oil spikes, but every oil spike like this was succeeded by a recession. Does that make sense? And I don't mean like a daily spike. I mean like a barrel of oil going from $40 to $140. Because remember, as much as we want to believe that we're an evolved society and a progressive generation and we're the green generation, we still suck on the oil tit, guys. Okay, everything. You want to drive your car, you want to fly a plane, you want to get in a bus, you want your food delivered to you in a ship and a truck and a train. You want your Amazon packages. You want to drink out of a plastic bottle. You want rubber on your tires. You want keyboards. All of it needs petroleum and oil. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So if the price of oil is that high, the price of everything else goes up. On an already inflated market, currencies are fucked right now. And what happens when this happens? Inflation goes up. And more scary than inflation or deflation is stagflation. Because if things are inflated, there are steps you can take to lower it. And if we're having deflation, there's steps you can take to raise it. Stagflation, you're kind of fucked both ways. So we've talked about this before. Inflation goes up. GDP goes down. Unemployment goes up. Okay, so what are we seeing right now? Inflation continuing to go up. We're at 7.5% year over year. Okay, the highest since 1982. Check. Unemployment. I don't care what the government is saying. Unemployment is going insane. At 10 a.m. today was job quits. I didn't even look at job quits if they went up or not. But 4 million people a month, 4.5 million people a month for a year leaving the workforce. GDP is going to slow down. It has to. But what is going to cause this and this? Not inflation. Inflation's already up. It's just going to get hyper exacerbated by the price of oil because the cost of everything is going to go up. When corn goes up, the price of everything goes up. All your candies, your batteries, your fucking there's fuel. There's so much shit that goes up, right? Wheat, bread, all that stuff's going up. Groceries are going up. Not only are groceries going up because of supply issues, but now the cost to deliver it to you is going to go up as well. So inflation's going insane. Imagine oil goes up, right? And now all of a sudden it costs a lot more to transport things. People are going to be driving less. People are going to be going on less vacations because the price of oil is going to go up. The airline tickets are going to have to go up. Less flying, which means less people traveling, which means that the industries that are around that go down. Less driving, less people going out to dinner. Prices are going up on things as well. So people can't even, they have to choose gas to drive somewhere or going out to eat. So what happens is you end up seeing a pullback on purchases. Right now we're seeing consumer spending stay up, but it's gonna get to a point where the prices are gonna outpace consumer spending because consumer spending is going up, but personal savings are going down. I mean, people are spending all their money hoping that the economy recovers and that they're gonna have plenty of money down the line, good credit and more money coming down the line, so they're spending the money they have now. But the problem is, if prices get too high, people can't afford to go out and eat and go to travel and stuff like that. Businesses then are forced to cut jobs, which then raises the unemployment. Not only does that raise the unemployment, but GDP starts to fall because people aren't buying to keep that cycle going. Yet the prices of things keep going up. And that's how you get stagflation. Stagflation is where prices are high, but people don't have money to buy them. And it's dangerous. If people stop driving and buying stuff, won't prices go down? Not necessarily, because businesses will just cut employees initially to try to cover the cost. And they can't just lower the prices because it costs so much to get it to them. You understand what I'm saying? The increase in the prices are because fuel costs so much to get the things to them. So what are they going to do? Just stop stocking their shelves? Then they shut down. And when they shut down, it's even more unemployment. And if inflation keeps going up, the value of every dollar gets less and less, meaning naturally the prices of things are more and more as well. This is why it's so complicated but so scary to have stagflation. And this is why gold, I told you guys a few months ago, as we get more concerns with stagflation, the price of gold is probably going to go up because the last time we had major stagflation, the value of gold outpaced the S&P 500 by 30%. Gold is up 10%, 15% just in the last month, while the S&P is down 10%. It's already 30% outpacing the S&P in the last three weeks. So now a lot of people are saying, well, Stocky, what do I do? Well, everybody's situation is different. But I would start, if you do have a point where you're above water, but the prices of things, I mean, just last year alone, and they haven't calculated this year yet, but in 2021, on average, the average family spent $257 more per month than they did the year before. For some of you guys, you don't even notice that, but for some people, that's insane. And that was before gas prices skyrocketed. That's why I told all you guys, I don't care if you use my code, someone else's code, or a different app. I use Get Upside. You can use whatever you want. Get your fucking gas. Get some money off it if you're an Uber driver. Uber stock jumped yesterday. Think about it. How many people are going to stop driving because it's cheaper to take an Uber? But then eventually Uber's going to catch up, and those drivers are going to get fucked because Uber's not going to raise the prices. Right? Why would they raise the prices? See, that's a genius about companies like Uber. If they just knew how to handle their cash, they don't give a shit. They don't eat that cost. They don't own the assets. They contract their work. That's on you, buddy. And all of this is also going to exacerbate green energy. This is why I told you guys to keep an eye on solar starting earlier this week into the next month or two, because these countries fucked themselves. They wanted to get a little too ahead of the curve and real cool and classy and jump into green energy. Right? Jump into green energy and be the saviors of the world, which is totally cool. But the problem was they cut off the transition. Instead of doing a smooth transition from old energy to new energy, they just cut off the old energy because they were so reliant on somebody else pumping it to them while they built their new infrastructure. But now the country that they're dependent on invaded another country, and all of a sudden it's a problem. And they just shut down all their coal plants and their nuclear plants. So now they're fucked because they're not ready for the green energy to power that many people and do that. It's not cost effective yet, and it's not ready. So now all of this oil, there's going to be a big talk about, okay, we need to step up and ramp up our independence on energy, whether it's through oil or green energy. And that's why solar especially is pushing. I'm in Plug Power. I bought Plug all the way down during the great Russell crash of 2021, 2022. I think Plug is one that I'm going to be in for the long term. I think that it was one of the ones that got caught up in collateral damage and is going to be a phoenix from the ashes because of hydropower. And we're already seeing a lot of people talk about this. Solar's big, but it just doesn't have enough output right now. Wind is not cost effective at all, but there's a lot that's going on right now. And so nuclear is another one that might be talked to. They've already been rumors about them firing up the old nuclear plants. But yeah, that's where I'm at with this. I could keep going on, guys, about economic indicators and rates and balance sheets and, currency swaps and all that stuff like that. But I'll end up boring the shit out of you guys for a while. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an understanding of some of the challenges we're facing right now with everything going on in the world. Okay? Good talk?